On May 15, 2017, a man was found alone in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean. He was floating in a life raft, calm, composed, and alive. His boat was sinking beneath the waves. His wife was gone. And instead of desperately searching for her, instead of screaming her name into the darkness, instead of doing everything a husband would normally do to save the woman he loved, this man had done something else entirely. He packed his belongings. He secured food and water. And most disturbingly of all, he made sure to bring stolen treasure with him before abandoning ship. This is the story of Isabella Hellmann, a devoted mother, a loving daughter, a hardworking immigrant, and a woman whose life was cut short by the one person who should have protected her. This is a story of betrayal, deception, and a calculated crime carried out far from land, where the ocean was meant to hide the truth. Isabella Hellmann was 41 years old. She lived in Delray Beach, Florida, in a place she once believed represented the fulfillment of her dreams. Isabella was born in Colombia to her parents, Eduardo Rodriguez and Amparo Alvarez. Like so many others before her, Isabella grew up believing that with hard work and determination, she could build a better future. She carried that belief with her when she came to the United States, determined to create a life not just for herself, but for the family she hoped to one day have. America was not easy on Isabella, but she never expected it to be. She worked tirelessly, starting wherever she could, taking jobs that allowed her to move forward one step at a time. Eventually, Isabella became a bank teller. It was there that someone noticed something special about her. Her smile was genuine. Her personality was warm. She had a way of making people feel comfortable, seen, and understood. One day, while working at the bank, Isabella noticed a man wearing a real estate company shirt. His name was Ben Shakar, a broker at Signature Real Estate. Isabella approached him, asked questions, and expressed interest in changing careers. Ben later said that the moment he met her, he knew she had what it took. She was outgoing, personable, and driven. She transitioned into real estate, earned her license, and began working at the Delray Beach office of Signature Real Estate. Though she had only been in the field for 16 months, Isabella showed real promise. She was still building her client base, still learning the business, but everyone around her could see her potential. She worked long hours, made sacrifices, and never lost sight of why she was doing it. Because the most important thing in Isabella's life was not her career. It was her daughter. In July of 2016, Isabella gave birth to a baby girl named Amelia. From the moment Amelia was born, Isabella's life revolved around her. Everything Isabella did, every decision she made, was centered on giving her daughter a safe, stable, and loving future. Friends and family described Isabella as a devoted mother. She was attentive, nurturing, and deeply bonded to her child. Being Amelia's mother was not just part of Isabella's life. It was her identity. Family was everything to Isabella. Her parents lived nearby in Boca Raton, Florida, along with her three sisters, Diana, Elizabeth, and Adriana. The family was incredibly close. They gathered frequently for meals, celebrations, and holidays. They maintained their Colombian traditions while fully embracing their American life. Isabella's mother, Amparo, played a significant role in helping care for Amelia. This gave Isabella peace of mind as a working mother, knowing her daughter was always surrounded by love and family. Isabella was safe. She was supported. She was home. But in 2014, Isabella met someone who would change everything. His name was Louis Richard Bennett. Louis Bennett was 42 years old. He described himself as adventurous and experienced. He held dual citizenship in Australia and the United Kingdom. Originally from Poole, Dorset, Bennett worked as a mining engineer and spent much of his life traveling. He was an experienced sailor, certified by the Royal Yachting Association. His training included emergency procedures, man-overboard protocols, and night sailing safety skills. This was not a casual hobby. Louis Bennett knew exactly what to do in dangerous situations at sea. Bennett had even completed a 3-month sailing voyage from St. Martin to Australia, navigating open oceans and proving his competence on the water. He knew the risks. He knew the rules. He knew what survival demanded. When Isabella and Louis began dating, their relationship moved quickly. Very quickly. By July 2016, their daughter Amelia was born. And by February 2017, they were married in a small ceremony. To outsiders, it appeared to be a happy union. A successful real estate agent and a worldly sailor building a life together. But beneath the surface, their relationship was deeply troubled. Financial pressure was a constant source of tension. Investigators would later uncover that the couple owed more than $2,500 across various debts and were struggling with multiple credit card payments. But money was not the deepest issue between them. Control was. Louis Bennett wanted to move. He wanted to raise Amelia in Australia, closer to his family and business interests. Isabella was firm in her refusal. Her family was in Florida. Her support system was in Florida. Amelia's stability depended on staying where she was surrounded by love and care. This disagreement created ongoing conflict between the couple, and it showed in text messages later recovered by investigators. In one message, Isabella wrote, "You make me crazy." Shouting, yelling, swearing. In another, she said, "I'm tired of you telling me I'm the worst person you've ever met. Everything I do is wrong." This is very pathetic, Louis. These were not the words of a woman in a happy, secure marriage. They were the words of someone feeling emotionally worn down, unheard, and trapped. Despite the tension, Isabella tried to make things work. She believed in commitment. She believed in family. And in April of 2017, the couple decided to take a belated honeymoon. They planned a sailing trip through the Caribbean, leaving 10-month-old Amelia with Isabella's family in Florida. It was meant to be a chance to reconnect, to fix what was broken, and to move forward together. On April 29, 2017, Isabella and Louis flew to St. Martin. There, they boarded Bennett's 37-foot catamaran, a boat he had named Surf into Summer. The plan was to sail through Puerto Rico, then to Cuba, and finally make the journey back to Florida. Isabella was excited about the adventure, though she missed Amelia terribly. She planned to stay in regular contact with her family using a satellite phone. Early into the trip, something happened that would later raise serious suspicion. Isabella's personal mobile phone broke. From that point forward, all communication depended entirely on Louis Bennett's devices. According to investigators, Bennett did not activate the satellite phone or register his personal locator beacon during most of the journey. He only activated them once they reached Cuba, just before embarking on the most dangerous leg of their trip. Investigators would later believe this was intentional, meant to ensure his own rescue and survival. Throughout the journey, Isabella called her sister Diana whenever she could. She always asked about Amelia. She wanted details. She wanted reassurance. She missed her daughter deeply. But during one of the final calls, Diana noticed something different. Isabella didn't ask her usual questions. The call felt rushed. Something seemed off. On May 14, 2017, Isabella and Louis departed Havana, Cuba, heading toward Florida. That evening, at approximately 8:25 p.m., Isabella made what would be her final phone call. She called her sister Diana using the satellite phone. She said they had just connected it and that it had been difficult to get working. She explained that they were in the middle of the ocean. Her voice sounded distant. Her last words were simple and haunting. "I'll see you tomorrow." No one would ever hear her voice again. According to Louis Bennett, later that night, he asked Isabella to take control of the catamaran for the night watch while he went below deck to sleep. Isabella had limited sailing experience. She was not trained in emergency procedures. She was not wearing a life jacket. She was not wearing a safety harness. She was not carrying a personal locator beacon. Despite his extensive training and experience, Bennett claimed he allowed her to take watch alone. In the early morning hours of May 15th, Bennett said he was awakened by a loud crashing sound beneath the boat. When he went up on deck, he claimed the sails and rigging were loose. The helm was unmanned. Isabella was gone. What Bennett did next shocked investigators. By his own admission, he could not recall calling out for Isabella. He did not deploy parachute flares to illuminate the water. He did not use the catamaran or the attached dinghy to search for her. He did not immediately activate the satellite phone to call for help. Instead, Bennett spent approximately 45 minutes loading items onto a life raft. Among those items were a suitcase, 2 duffel bags, a backpack, food, 14 gallons of water, unexpended flares, a radio transmitter, and most telling of all, 9 plastic tubes containing 225 stolen silver coins worth more than $4,000. Only after securing his belongings and the stolen coins did Bennett cut the tether connecting the life raft to the sinking catamaran and abandoned ship. At 1:30 a.m., the United States Coast Guard received emergency signals from Bennett's personal locator beacon approximately 26 nautical miles west of Cay Sal Bank in the Bahamas. At 4:30 a.m., a Coast Guard helicopter located Bennett floating in his life raft and transported him to Marathon Jet Center in the Florida Keys. The rescue swimmer who assisted Bennett immediately noticed that his backpack was unusually heavy. Inside were the stolen silver coins. When Coast Guard officials asked Bennett what he had done to search for his missing wife, his response was chilling. He said, "I did not do anything." The Coast Guard launched one of the most extensive search and rescue operations in the region's history. For 4 days, from May 15th to May 18th, they searched nearly 5,000 square nautical miles using multiple aircraft and cutters. The operation lasted 137 hours. Despite their efforts, Isabella was nowhere to be found. On May 18th, the search was officially suspended. Just 1 day later, Louis Bennett made a request that stunned investigators. He asked the Coast Guard for a letter of presumed death for Isabella. Investigators found the timing deeply suspicious. It was far too early for a husband who would normally still be clinging to hope. Isabella's family was devastated. They had been anxiously waiting for her return, caring for baby Amelia, believing she would be home soon. Instead, they were faced with unimaginable loss. They initially rallied around Bennett, offering support and comfort. But his behavior disturbed them. When Isabella's sister Diana saw Bennett after the search ended, she described him as calm, unemotional, and distant. She hugged him and asked where Isabella was. He simply said, "I don't know." 2 weeks later, Bennett came to the family's home in Boca Raton with a police officer to retrieve belongings he claimed were his. What happened next was captured on police body camera footage. Isabella's mother begged Bennett not to take Amelia away. Isabella's sister Elizabeth screamed in grief and rage, accusing him of killing her sister. At one point, Isabella's mother collapsed to the ground. Bennett refused to let the family hold Amelia one last time. The next day, he purchased one-way tickets and fled to the United Kingdom with the child. Meanwhile, investigators were uncovering the truth. The Coast Guard located the partially sunken catamaran. Experts determined the damage was caused from inside the vessel. 2 underwater escape hatches had been opened, causing rapid flooding. An expert in nautical architecture concluded the vessel had been intentionally scuttled. There was no evidence of an accident. On June 16, 2017, the FBI searched the couple's condominium. Inside a closet hidden in shoes, they found gold coins stolen from another yacht months earlier. Bennett had stolen over $100,000 worth of gold and silver while working as a crew member on a yacht called Kitty R. He had filed a false police report to cover his tracks. Investigators believed Bennett's motive was clear. Killing Isabella would end their marital conflict, allow him to inherit her estate, and give him sole custody of Amelia. When Bennett returned to the United States for an insurance interview in August 2017, he was arrested. He was later charged with second-degree murder. In November 2018, Bennett accepted a plea deal to involuntary manslaughter. He was sentenced to 8 years in federal prison. Isabella's family never believed her death was accidental. In June 2019, they reunited with Amelia in Scotland. They chose forgiveness, believing Amelia deserved love from both families. Today, Isabella is remembered not for how she died, but for how she lived. A devoted mother, a loving daughter, a woman who chased the American dream and paid the highest price. Remember Isabella. Do not forget her name. If you or someone you love has ever trusted the wrong person, let Isabella Hellmann's story be a reminder to listen to your instincts and protect what matters most. Her life was taken, but her voice lives on through those who refuse to let her be forgotten. If this story moved you, share it so Isabella's name continues to be remembered, and so the truth is never buried. Thank you for watching Dark Justice with Nora. Until next time, stay aware, stay safe, and remember that justice matters, even when it comes too late.